Good evening. Reflecting on my study at Westminster, as a good reform student, I have 3 points. Traditional, servant, and leave. At the same time, as actually not that great reform student, I'm struggling how to make the 3 together, how to make an alliteration or something like that. And the 3 points are not even all nouns. Sorry, my PT professors. I'm glad this will not be graded. And look, I'm using a manuscript, not outline. Traditional. Before seminary, I conducted scientific research on artificial intelligence for years and published several academic papers at international conferences. The typical way of drafting a good paper in my area was this. First, the traditional way of doing things, that is, what ordinary people do. And then come our smarter guys. We do things differently, far more than tradition. We push the cutting-edge area forward. Our mathematical proof and algorithm design will be unprecedented. Nobody has done that before. That is the mentality when I first wrote my paper at Westminster for Dr. Holden's class, Christian Mind. I argued to challenge classical theism and expected to be praised for my innovation. He wrote a full-page response and pointed me to some readings where I learned a term that fits for my thesis, open theism. I realized my problem was not new enough, but old enough. Then for a time, I was so fascinated by the 16th, 17th century theology and consider any difference to them will be heretical. As my study proceeded, I realized that the Reformed Church is still being reformed. Having the confession as my boundaries and my framework, we need to articulate the gospel, the ancient gospel, to our contemporary age and to different cultures, which is exactly what my professors have been doing. By the way, 3 years later, after my first Westminster paper, I published an article on Dr. Holden's modern Reformation, defending classical traditional theism. Second, servant. I came to seminary from an evangelical background in my 30s. This fact makes me feel that I was far behind. I wished I had the chance to memorize Heidelberg Catechism when I was young. I wish I knew the English word scripture, what it means when I first came to seminary. My English study, my English education before only taught me what the Bible means. I literally don't know what scriptures mean. Then I noticed I can't say this wish wasn't mixed with my unholy desire to be acknowledged or to be someone be known for. Or put it in a more better way, to do something great for God. Then I noticed my professors, who could be far more wealthier and more famous if they choose so. They humbled me and demonstrated me what gospel ministers and servants like. I had the honor of knowing a few backstage heroes at the front office. They are not all here today, but thank you. I also know many saints at the church who gave us $20 to the seminary or to us to support us. I don't know many persons personally donors who supported us through the years. I want to be a servant like these servants. For a time, I had myself from everywhere to be cautious of my ambitions. Because you may be surprised, we live in an age that is too easy for fame hunting. Upon graduation, I think I have learned to balance being humble and pursue excellence. I know that is for saints in the church, especially for those suffering Christians in China, they deserve a better trained minister. Third, leave. I served as an usher at the annual conference in my first year and saw police officers showing up to help maintain order. My first immediate response to seeing them is worrying. As someone who has served a house church for over 10 years in Beijing, it's never a good sign to see police officers showing up when church gathers. Then I realized I am in the United States, not China. One friend once asked me what I would miss most when I leave the country. I said two things. First, I would go to a fixed place for Sunday service every Sunday without having to move from one place to another. Second, I can buy theological books as many as I want without getting into any trouble. I realized literally studying at Westminster is a privilege that millions of Chinese Christians cannot enjoy. I never doubted the meaningfulness of learning here. Still, for a time, I did need to pay special effort to focus, not thinking of what my reading of Schleiermacher, how it's related to my suffering brothers and sisters in China. With many names in mind, I know why my lab was kept open after midnight of many, many days. In my second year, I also served the usher at a graduation reception. Listening to their reflections, I couldn't imagine how unwillingness would that be when I graduate. Today, I'm standing at the same place, surprisingly, indeed unwillingly, but at the same time, I think I'm ready to leave. Westminster has taught me how to learn, what to learn, but most importantly, why to learn. Now I'm ready to live, to read, to preach, to teach, to serve. You will be ready and even eager to go only when you know where your spiritual angle is in this small hill. So, traditional. Once I wanted to be innovative and less traditional, then I was trapped in a historical illusion of a golden age. Now I confess a reformed confession, but no, there's still work to do. Servant. Once I was arrogant and sneakily desiring things great, then I wanted to hide, and now I wanted to follow my professor's steps to pursue excellency humbly. Leave. Once I needed to force myself to focus on my studies here, then I didn't want to go at all, and now I'm ready to go. I'm struggling with how to connect the 3 points together. But how about this? Westminster Seminary, California, please send me to live as a confessional, traditional, reformed servant of Jesus Christ.